As a trial lawyer, I've seen terrible circumstances surrounding lawsuits, but none had the impact of the premature and senseless loss of a young person, particularly a Sigma Chi brother.
What really caused the death of Dominic? Was it the exuberance of youth and the attraction of indulgence? Was it the thoughtless actions of others in the chapter house? Was it the general culture of drinking on college campuses? Was it merely the rare fluke of a candle falling over and instead of going out, igniting clothing, which just happened to be piled on the bed? We and the officers of other fraternities have to ponder these questions all too often. The impact of a lawsuit of this nature is jarring to our risk management's foundation financial position. It is jarring to the House Corporation and the alumni of Xi Xi chapter, who thought the proper precautions had been taken, but in the end were not properly policed. Could Dominic's death have been prevented? Possibly, if the chapter had taken the rules seriously, and if someone, just one person, had enough concern for Dominic to lead him out of that bar, to stop the continuance of his drinking. Had he been more sober, could he have realized that he might well punch his way out of the dry walls surrounding him? These scenarios and the questions are endless. The thought that it will never happen to me is strong with men in college, yet it does happen. In deaths like Dominic's, in drunken driving cases, and in cases of excessive consumption. It didn't take a fire, and it didn't take a car to end the life of Blake Hammontree, a pledge at the Beta Kappa chapter at the University of Oklahoma. Alcohol alone killed Blake.
The death of Blake was a case of doing everything we thought was right and having it turn out horribly wrong. We traditionally held a Big Brothers night at the house, a low-key event where actives and pledges enjoyed each other's company. Alcohol was available, and we soon noticed that Blake was drinking too much. We took his glass away from him and told him no more. He apparently continued drinking. His intoxicated condition became noticeable, so several of us took him to his Big Brother's room and put him to bed there so we could keep an eye on him. We checked him several times that night, and he seemed to be sleeping peacefully. We heard what we thought was snoring coming from his bed. The next morning, I tried to awaken him, but with no response. Blake had passed away sometime during the night. We later learned that what we assumed was snoring was his body fighting for breath as alcohol poisoning shut it down. We were shocked when the incident was reported as a possible criminal case. An aggressive district attorney threatened members of our chapter with arrest. Similar to the case of the Duke lacrosse team, a number of inflammatory comments were made and the death became national news. Our chapter was dragged through the mud by the media and then suspended from the university. The actions of the DA caused heavy legal bills and great stress for the families of many of our members. As I said, the situation which we thought we handled properly ended with tragic consequences.
Dominic and Blake, two promising young men whose lives were tragically ended by alcohol. Events that scarred their brothers, their families, and our fraternity. Could your chapter be impacted by such a death? Of course it could. But every one of you watching this can accept the responsibility for your brothers and yourself in seeing that you never experience what the men of these chapters have. All it takes is a bit of effort and a bit of maturity. Rules and checklists aren't much fun, but if you follow those guidelines for fire safety from your university and Sigma Chi, in regard to the preventative actions and use some common sense in terms of alcohol, you may never see the light go out of the life of one of your brothers, I truly hope you never will.